Okay, so I think we're good to go. So, as I said, today's fireside chat is with Mark Connolly from Murex. Mark Connolly is the country manager for Murex Ireland and the head of service pre-sales EMA at Murex, a global leader in trading, risk management, and processing solutions for capital markets. With a BSc in Information Systems from UCC and over 27 years of experience across consulting, clinical research, and capital markets, Mark has held multiple leadership roles, including Head of Partnership, Investment Management, and Head of Product Management and Operations. He brings a wealth of experience in product managing, client management, and strategic partnership. Mark also serves as a director of the France-Ireland Chamber of Commerce and is also a director of La French Tech Dublin. Mark, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. Very good. And yourself?
I'm very good. Thanks very much. Great to have you today. Really looking forward to listening to your story and answering these questions because I know you a good few years and I know a little bit about you and a little bit about what you do. So I'm really looking forward to this fireside chat with you. So we kick off with the first question, Mark. Describe the company and its presence in Ireland, please.
Well, Murex is a leading fintech for capital markets with solutions focused on front to back to risk. We have a dedicated platform. It's almost 40 years in existence, headquartered in France, in Paris, in France. And we've been located in Dublin for almost 25 years now. We'll celebrate 25 years next year. And again, the operation in Dublin is very much focused around a product development center. So very much focused on delivering solutions for the platform. We have almost 100 employees in Dublin. I've myself have been there for 20 years. So I've seen sort of a growth from, I suppose, a small office to something that's a little bit more mid-size. And again, the key there is working with our colleagues in the various development hubs and client hubs globally to deliver the solutions to our clients and to prospects.
Very good, very good. Let's like to say as well to anybody, if you have any questions, just pop them into the chat box there. And at the end, we'll hopefully fire a few questions at Mark if we have some time at the end. You're a Cork man up in Dublin.
Yeah, Cork man. I've been up here since the late 90s at this stage. So people often say to me, I've lost the Cork accent, but so yeah. Look, I mean, I've been working as across consulting. I started with a French company, Capgemini Consulting. You might have seen it advertised in the Ryder Cup there. So you know, I started out there initially consulting. Worked for other consulting companies. Then had a brief couple of years at Icon Clinical Research, where I was working there around the clinical systems and that. And then, you know, I've spent, as I say, the last 20 years working for Murex in various roles: client-facing, product management, country manager now, but also, you know, you never have one role. So I've mirrored that with other roles, partnership roles, and now heading the service pre-sales for EMA.
Good. I mean, I know I was just reading back on your story yesterday. You know, Cork, you went to UCC up to Dublin. Is Dublin kind of the epicenter, you know, for your business, you know, in Ireland? That's where it's at, is it?
I mean, for you know, financial markets, anything around financial markets, the capital markets, and that, you know, we would have a lot of companies, a lot of the, you know, the IFSC there, you know, the hub for many of the large financial institutions are based in Dublin. But again, I suppose today, you know, in this world, it doesn't matter where you were, you connect seamlessly with clients or with your colleagues. So if I look at it, you know, we're dealing with clients across the globe. We're dealing with colleagues across the globe on various initiatives, various opportunities, supporting clients. So again, is anywhere an epicenter these days is a key point. But we still have our major hubs where we as I was saying to you before, that it's key for us to bring people together And we feel it's very important to share, I suppose, how we work with our colleagues, engaging with them. Again, we like the balance of some remote working, but also with a meeting together collectively.
Okay, very good. So can you just describe your role in Murex? I know you. I've been up in the offices, a smashing office. I know you're a very busy man. I see what you do, but what exactly do you do?
Well, I suppose, again, I sort of play two roles. I mean, from the country manager point of view, it's really about, I suppose, managing the site within Ireland, supporting the people there. Again, the people are what drive the company. They deliver the software. We're a product development hub in Dublin here, so it's really about making sure that we have the right conditions for everybody. We're attracting the right talent in the market. Of course, it's it's always a bit of a battle with all the, when you think of Dublin, it's a bit like the Silicon Valley of Europe, with all the various names that you can think of, who are competing for that talent. So it's really about setting us up in the right fashion so that our name is in the market, we're attracting the right talent, we're retaining the talent, and we're supporting the various domains across the organization, whether it be on the product side, whether it be on the client side, ensure that we're doing the very best for our clients and for future clients.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there, people and management, so for that, like in your role, I'd imagine that's a big part of your role. Trying to keep a team together, keep them motivated, get the right people. It's a big, while you're in the financial services, and the IT and AI, but that's a big part of your role as well, isn't it? Managing people and keeping it, keeping them all happy and keeping them right.
Yeah, I think, look, it's about really, I think I see it as working with the people. There's managers locally, there's managers in Paris or Beirut who are looking after people in Dublin. So it's about collectively working with everybody to ensure that we're identifying the right steps to take. And I don't see myself as trying to manage everybody on the ground. It's really understanding what's going on, actively listening to what's been said, and really looking at the strategy and how we manage people that support our business. So I always look at it, if I'm in the office, I really like the idea of being a presence, walking around, meeting people, saying hello. It's the small things that are important when you're, especially when you have a lot of people working remote. You might be in at the same time, things like that. So that's where I see the big part, and then really promoting Dublin within the organization. 20 years in the organization, you have a lot of relationships and that. So it's about managing the Dublin presence within a large organization. As we're 3,400 people globally. So there's a lot of people. We're a fraction of that population, but again, we contribute like everybody else. So it's about promoting the value that's there from a Dublin perspective.
It's interesting when you have other international offices and you're dealing with colleagues around the world. Do you find different management styles? I often find dealing with different countries, their approach may be a bit different. Do you find that a challenge, or how do you cope with that?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's different. I think I suppose over the last 20 years I've worked in different locations. I spent a year and a half in Abu Dhabi with Murex. Worked in Europe. I've gone to the States, LATAM, to just talk with clients. So you do see different things. I think it's always important to try and understand with your colleagues what's happening in that locale, what culturally that you have to be aware of. I think the one thing I've always looked at, don't dive in, try and listen to what people are saying, because otherwise, you could have that false move or whatever. But you have to be able to manage that. It's going to happen, but it's something that we sort of deal with very well, I think, in Murex. One, because we've 60 nationalities across all the locations, and I think we have this culture that's there, and I'm there 20 years. It hasn't really changed in that time that I've been there, and I think it's been there since the inception of the company, because our founders are still involved, and they sort of they're really the culture is really important to them, and to us. So we look at trying to protect that and make sure that we manage it. So I think culturally we understand a lot as well.
Mm. Well, so what is the most challenging aspect of your role then? Because obviously there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts. I'm sure there's probably lots of challenging aspects to your role, is there?
Yeah, well, I think one of the big things is, and again, I go back to it, sort of talent, managing the talent, attracting the talent, in a very competitive market is I suppose one of the most challenging things from the managing the site and that, and making sure that we're in line with what's happening with the broader company as well, and the strategy, supporting that. So I suppose they're the two aspects that over the last number of years that are really sort of challenging, yes, but I suppose they're the things that really motivate you to make sure that you're ahead of the posse, when you're trying to either attract talent or support the overall strategy of the company.
Yeah, I mean, in the area you're in, attracting talent, it's a very competitive business, isn't it? So you're trying to, attract the best talent, in Dublin, which has its own issues. I mean, with accommodation and living and so forth. Is that a problem for you attracting, or how have you got around that?
Yeah, I think. Look, I think all companies, are can find it difficult. I think what we have really been doing is maybe looking at the concentration of universities around Dublin and the surrounding commuting distance, like a lot of companies. But to say that, because I suppose one of the things there is that you already have those graduates who are living in Dublin. But in saying that, we also are continually get people coming from UCC, where I graduated from, and other universities as well, because again, you have Dublin is the Silicon Valley for people who are interested in technology, everything like that. So it's important for them to come to Dublin to gain experience and that. So that's sort of, you have to manage it.
Okay.
There's no one answer to the problem at the moment. It's really supporting those people that join your company, I think.
And I imagine remote working is a big part of your business as well. You obviously encourage that where you can as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think even, remote working really came in, I suppose, during the pandemic, as we know. But even prior to that, our Murex were very much supportive of people working from home 1 day a week. So I was doing that even prior to the pandemic. So again, we support that strategy. But as I said at the outset, it's very important for us to bring people together as much as anything, to have the teams on the ground working together, collaborative. And an example I can give that, we have large planning sessions between the development teams, product management teams that happen physically in a location where you can bring 100 people together in Dublin or Paris or Beirut, so that they can plan together at least once a year. So we're very much about bringing people together, but balancing it with having a strong support of remote working as well.
Yeah, no, I have to say, anytime I've spoken to you and I've been in Murex, you'd find that there's a lovely, kind of relaxed culture up there. It seems to be like, kind of a family, I know it's a family-owned business, but that trickles right down through the management as well to the staff. You get that sense that you are part of a team, part of a family, and it's very relaxed, which is great to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, it's really about supporting the people within the organization. The people are the key.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people in there that I joined with 20 years ago that are still there, and even people who are there longer than I have been in Dublin. Even if you look at Paris, there's often meetings I've gone in where we're introducing ourselves to a client or to a partner, and many of the people in the room either have anywhere between 15 and 25 years experience.
Wow.
At Murex, you know. So
Excellent.
again, it's a testament to the longevity of people within the company, and also what they believe from what the company stands for as well. So it's really important.
Excellent. No, that comes across. You can see that, you can sense that, which is great. I think that's fantastic in a company, that whole ethos, you know, it makes it such a better environment for everybody, which is fantastic. What are you most excited about then, Mark? I mean, all I'm hearing about is AI and so forth. You're right in the heart of that. So what excites you most now?
Yeah, I think, look, I mean, there's lots of things happening with technology, with business in the financial markets. So, I mean, for us, I mean, one of the key things that's really driving us is our managed services. Really around, we've a number of different offerings for clients and prospects around software as a service, upgrade as a service, or we've a program on what we call MX Evolve, which is supporting clients as they upgrade. And also from the point of view of supporting them in their as they build out the use of the platform and that. So they're key things. Now, AI, of course, is something that's touching everybody. Yeah. We can see it in many of the topics that are discussed on many forums, many meetups, and even for us, it's a big area where we're looking at today. We released a white paper not too long ago about around the use of neural networks in pricing derivative products, which is sort of where we are in trying to, I suppose, push the agenda in the MX.3 platform for the capital markets. So there's lots of elements there that we're pushing internally as well. Like a lot of companies, we're using chatbots and that to help support what our own staff are doing. Also, what we would like for our clients, like, you know, if you have lots of trades, you want to do a trade query, you know, that you can just use native language to actually search. We're looking at things around helping us in test automation, accelerating our testing processes using AI. So there's lots of really interesting stuff that we're looking at, like a lot of other companies. So there's just a myriad of topics that are so interesting when you talk to internally and when you talk externally to partners or to clients.
Yeah, you mean, in fairness, you know, you seem very excited about the AI. You think, you know, do you see it as a threat at all, or do you think it's going to be, you know, like it's kind of, you know, what's your own feeling on that?
I think, like everything, you know, when something comes, there's always going to be issues, concerns. We need to manage that. We need to see how we can better, I suppose, put in place the safeguards around managing that. I suppose for companies themselves, it's really about managing their IP. For us, I suppose, ourselves, you know, you think about the safeguards that are there that need to be in place for how the usage of AI. We all hear the stories in the press, in the social media and things like that. So again, it's through collective, I suppose, the business and the industry working together to ensure that we're pushing an agenda that ensures that there are safeguards there for individuals and companies. So we're not there yet. There's a lot of discovery, and you know, let's see where it lands in the future. But there's some difficult conversations, I think, to be had around the whole AI world. moving forward. But I think there's a lot of innovation around it that'll help businesses to actually, I suppose, garner new opportunities, and also there's a threat in the market, I suppose, from competitors and that you need to manage. But again, everybody's moving in that direction. So I think it's very interesting times ahead.
Yeah, no, you seem, very interested in the whole thing, excited about it, which is great. And you moved into a new role there as well, am I right in saying, in your job, yeah?
Yeah. So I mean, since January now, I'm heading up the services pre-sales for EMEA. So
Congratulations.
again, it's really focused on a lot of the managed services that we have for our customers and for prospects, and also around the professional services that we provide to support clients on their implementation journey and that. So really managing, I suppose, the pre-sales opportunities, working with the business development community and our delivery organizations to ensure that we are, I suppose, gaining market share around those, specifically in EMEA.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. It's again, look, I'm a great believer in, every 3 years you have to sort of reinvent it or find something new,
Right.
because otherwise you sort of get a little bit maybe bored. So again, it's really important to have a challenge, gain new knowledge. When you get to a certain level, it's really about knowledge. If you gain more knowledge, then you're going to gain more skills. And as somebody said to me a number of years ago, I said, look, you have to look at your potential. And they said, well, why would I look at my potential? I'm here a number of years. Well, if you don't consider your potential at any stage in your career, then you might as well maybe think about hanging up your boots a little bit. It's about challenging yourself and always feeling that you have the potential to learn something new or to do something creative as well. Yeah. So
Yeah, you kind of, there's a bit of a competitive edge to you then, is there? You like to push, like our PBs, you like to push yourself a little bit, do you?
I like to push. I like to push myself a bit. I like to challenge, but I feel right. Challenging yourself mentally is important. And you can do that through work. I do that through participation in different types of sports and that as well. And it's about enjoying it. You need to wake up in the morning and feel you're happy doing something. If you're not, then you need to reevaluate. So I think it's really about looking at it from that standpoint, and I think challenging yourself is one of the best things you can do.
To be fair, you're very busy, I mean, because I know, like, you have Murex, you're involved in the France Ireland Chamber, you're on, the French Tech, the tech, you're on, you have a young family with 3 girls. Is that what you have? Is it 3 daughters?
3 daughters, yeah, 3 daughters.
So you're very busy, I mean, home life. It must be. How will you find all the time, for all this?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Again, I suppose it's one of those things, when you're enjoying things, you sort of find time.
Yeah.
And again, I think, look, sometimes you have to be sort of realistic, when you're engaged in things. Sometimes you have to sort of say, look, I'm not going to get to that or whatever. There's priorities you have to look at. So, like everything, there's work that you need to manage, which is important. There's family that you need to manage, and then there's the other things that you get involved in. So you have to find a balance and just make sure that you're as I say, you always go back to, are you happy? If you're not happy, then you need to reevaluate something. So at the moment, I'm relatively happy.
Yeah, no, I think, like, you're very busy. You're juggling. You're spinning a lot of plates there, to be fair to you, and your new role. And I know, involved in the France Chamber, you really put a lot of work in there. You've done a number of events which have been fantastic, and tip my hat to you, because you are, it's great, and we appreciate the effort you put in, which is very much appreciated. What did you want to be then growing up then? What was your, you want to be a fireman or a soccer player, or what was the plan?
Yeah, sure. Like everybody in Cork, we wanted to be a hurler or a footballer or whatever, So,
yeah.
But I mean, I didn't have the skill set, but maybe the future did. But I think one of the things that I was I suppose always interested in was maybe technology. I mean, if you remember Beyond 2000, that program, Australian program that used to be aired
Yeah, yeah,
on TV back in the late 80s, 90s. I think that always intrigued me, the
okay,
technology. We were at the cusp of a I suppose, prior to the real internet coming, social media, yeah, all of that sometimes always
yeah,
sort of intrigued me, the technology, innovation. So that sort of attracted me, I suppose, to doing what I'm doing today.
okay,
The real learning, understand business, understand how technology and I suppose software and that can support business has been a real interest for me over the years. So that sort of directed me, I think. And I suppose I like the idea of I suppose engaging with people on topics and discussing these things and trying to solve a challenge, or a
yeah,
problem. That's one of the biggest things that I suppose is why I've stayed so long in Murex. There's
mm,
always, there's always a challenge. There's always a problem to look at. There's always a problem to be solved.
yeah.
Um, and um, and that's been the really interesting thing that has kept me, I suppose, engaged.
So it was always the tech. It was always kind of you were one of these Commodore 64 guys then years ago, where you kind of beyond that, you were kind of always into computers and were you into gaming and stuff, or were you how did
No,
you?
no, I mean, again, I remember, playing the Nintendo 64s back in
Right.
the early 90s and stuff like that, a bit
Yeah,
of Super Mario. But I think it was just intriguing. How do you produce something like this
yeah,
that actually people can interact with? Was sort of maybe the interest.
okay, yeah,
So really understanding how you actually build something, how do you deliver it. I suppose I wasn't a developer so much, but really understanding, maybe the data that goes behind it, how it's used, how do you interpret data, all those important things, that when you're looking at a report or you're looking at something on your screen goes into, I suppose, the thinking behind it, because
yeah.
that's sort of what's drawn me to it.
Right. So you fulfilled your dream, really, haven't you? You think about
I didn't play for Cork, but yeah, I mean, it's always,
it.
yes.
Are we soccer or hurling now? Which are we talking about?
But hurling,
Hurling.
hurling in Cork, of course,
Yeah,
and I suppose, well, the footballers have done the All Ireland the last few years, but
that's true.
maybe
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
the hurlers won't be too long before they do it again, But
Brilliant. So, what's the one thing you know now that you'd wish you'd known 5 years ago that I wish I'd known that, or anything there that kind of you think about?
maybe Nvidia shares,
Yeah,
but no, I think it's. I suppose it's always like, how do you reflect on something 5 years hence and
mm,
sort of think about it. Um, I think I would say, taking more of a risk at times. As you get older, you get a little bit more risk adverse, probably.
yeah,
You sort of, balance. You're weighing things up, but it's sort of looking and sort of saying, it's never going to be that bad.
mm,
You can try things, you can push things,
yeah,
um, and that helps you. So I mean, that's sort of what I look at. I mean, of course, the AI thing would be interesting to know 5 years ago to what was happening.
yeah.
If we look at just sort of where the industry is going more broadly, but yeah, having insights into that might have changed a direction for you. But
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
you
Okay.
don't look back with regret anyway. Just
Don't look back with anger, Mark. No,
yeah,
that's it.
don't look
Leave it.
back
Yeah.
exactly.
But I suppose one question there before we go. So, speaking of talent, what are the key qualities that Mark looks for in future leaders in his sector? Interesting question.
I suppose the key thing for me is how do you sort of first fit within a team. Are you comfortable fitting within a team? Because
Yeah.
um and then I suppose the next thing is that they're not afraid to put their hand up and make a mistake. I'd much prefer to see somebody sort of say, yeah, I'll happily take a go at that, and sort of then hold their hands up if it doesn't go right, because then that person learns. They're going to be they're not afraid to put themselves out there, and they're not afraid to learn. So I think that's something that people can sort of look to and sort of really sort of feel, okay, I can get behind this person. I can believe in where they're going. It's important, because everybody in the world can have a load of different types of skills, everything like that. But being a leader, it's something that at times it's just maybe a little bit in you as much as anything, and you have to be able to take a little bit of a risk and put yourself out there. Not be afraid to put themselves out there.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you. I think the first point you made there about will that person fit into a team? That's the first thing in business when you look at somebody interviews. Will you fit into the team? And that's so important, because if they don't, well, then it's not going to work. I think you're right. And then you look for a little bit of quirkiness in them as well, that you think that maybe, that little spark, we can see it, which is really, really important. It adds to a team and adds to a business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mark, I don't see any more questions, and we're just on time, which was perfect timing. It's been a pleasure talking to you and having the fireside chat. I've learned a lot more about you today, which is great. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you did anyway. So that's a yes, I think. So.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
it's been really good. You always wonder how these things are going to go, but thank you for your moderation and your interviewing skills.
No, you're more right. And to everybody listening, thank you very much for listening to the Fireside Chat. The recording will be up on the website in the next few days. So, Mark, thank you. Thanks very much again. And thank you, everybody listening today. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everyone.